A student didn't hand in their project on time. You talked about it in class and was written in their agenda. So we talked about strategies possibly that the teacher could have used, and one of the strategies we wanted to try and make the child responsible. So we thought by setting up goals or steps to do the project and due dates and kind of making a contract with maybe the child or the class as to when it is, obviously being a conference, so the due dates would be reasonable for them. Telling them to get done. We developed more questions than, because we were wondering, what if you have, like in Esther's case, some of the children in her class are just, they just don't get it done. They're just not motivated to get it done. What do you do as a teacher if you give them and you're hammering it and you're trying to have them complete their projects, but it's just not coming back? What do you do?
Okay.
We didn't have an
Great.
answer.
Oh, great, good. Comments or questions? It's about a project not handed in on time. Okay. I always gave my students time in the classroom to do it. There may be, believe it or not, students that don't have a computer at home. They're not allowed to go to the library. They don't have any resources at all, so they can use the, I always went to the librarian, or I got my books out myself. Not every school has a librarian, unfortunately. So let's say we're doing medieval times. It's a grade 4 unit. And I would have as many books as I can in my classroom. They can use it. I also made sure when they chose the topic, I knew the students, so I knew they would choose a topic that was much easier to get information from than a particular topic. Again, always gave them at least 3 weeks. I also sent home a note to the parent. Dear parent or guardian, right now we're involved in a grade 4 medieval social studies unit, and your child has been assigned blank, the castles, the knights, whatever, and these are the criteria which they have to follow. They have to have 2 hand-drawn pictures. It has to have 4 bibliographies. Here are some of the things that they can look for. So it was all generic, and it was all. And the due date is, and it had the due date, and it had a signature for the parent, and it had a signature for the child. It was sent home, it was brought back, so the parent can't say, I didn't know they had a project. So la-di-da, there you go, there's the proof. And if the child was having difficulty, then you'd sit down with them. And you can always accommodate as well and modify the project. Instead of doing 2 pictures, they can do 1 picture. Okay? And sometimes when they had to do drawn pictures, that was an art lesson, the integrate. So they have to draw a picture for the project, and they did it during art. So you just try to do it. For literacy, if they had to write a story, maybe you could incorporate some of the project into the literacy program so they could do some of the work there. So that's what I try to do. Try to make it as easy as possible for particular students. Some kids can do it and they're just too lazy. So you really have to know your students in order to do that. Great. Any other questions?